Good afternoon, buon pomeriggio to all of you here and those of you who are online.
Buon
Welcome to
pomeriggio a tutti.
this two-part event organized by the Department of International Trade here in Italy. Um, the first part of this event that was carried out at the beginning of October really brought together all of the stakeholders between government, industry and NGO to look at the challenges posed by the circular economy, both for food and packaging. And so today, what the UK DIT is looking at doing is to bring in together some of the example and initiative that the industry has already embarked on to actually showcase how this new advanced technology can be part of the daily operation for the food and packaging industry. So I would like to take this opportunity to present you with the co-organizer of this event, and I would like to give the word to Rossano Bozzi. There is the CEO of Ipack. And Rossano, if you would like.
Thank you, Roberta, and good afternoon to everyone. Good afternoon also to the people who are connected in streaming, thanks to our beautiful platform. I would like to welcome everybody with a short speech talking about the place in where we are speaking about innovation and sustainability. We are at MeatTech. MeatTech is the exhibition of Ipack Ima focused on cold cut meat and ready meals industry. We are here thanks also to our partners, which are ASICA, which is the Cold Cut and Meat Italian Association, Animaso Foodtech, who are our partners since the beginning of MeatTech in Milan many years ago, and Ucima, which are shareholders of Ipack Ima JV company with Fiera Milano, and also our strong partners for our exhibitions and events. We are here with, together with more than 100 exhibitors coming from 13 countries, and what surprised me actually was the number of buyers gathered. We were able to gather for this edition of meeting, more than 100 again, coming from 27 countries. We have talked about innovation a lot during last days, and we will do it again also today and the last day, which is going to be tomorrow. For what concerns sustainability, we had the chance to host a very interesting event organized by PAC Media, which is a very smart trade press worldwide recognized in our sector and sponsored by Ucima. The name of this event is Packaging Speaks Green, because everybody has to know that the packaging it's useful to have a better environment because it preserves the goods, it reduces the food waste, and there's many more positive plus that we have to underline every time we talk about packaging. Oops. Too fast. Okay. Again, about sustainability, we are pleased to show you here in the other hall the sustainable factory. We did it thanks to the cooperation with some companies that decided to get this challenge together with us, and I'd like to mention them, starting from Ilpra, the Veripack, Haflinger, Gelmini, FT System, and also Stompy. It's very interesting. Twice a day we reproduce what it normally is happening in a normal factory, trying to also use some monomaterial films or films particularly oriented to the circular economy. Again, on innovation, we have the Innovating Food Experience running all day long during the whole show, and a collection of Italian startup, very innovative, basically focused on artificial intelligence, IoT, blockchain, whatever is, let's say, innovative in the meat sector. We are pleased to be together with our colleagues, of course, of TUTTOFOOD first, and also host Milano. And I can say now that it's going to close the exhibition because tomorrow will be the last day. But I can say now, Paola, that it's a very interesting and very successful edition. Now I leave the stage to Paola, and thank you for staying with us, also online. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Rossano, for this great introduction. And if I can introduce you to Paola Sarco, as been mentioned, she is the exhibition manager here at TUTTOFOOD. Paola, to you. Thank you for having us here.
Yeah, thank you for having me with you today. So I'm here and I'm very happy to be here because we've been talking about sustainability a lot in the past months, but here and innovation. But here during TUTTOFOOD, you can see it. First of all, TUTTOFOOD is one of the biggest trade shows regarding the food and beverage industry. And it is an international show. And I think that everybody can understand that we are recovering from what was a very bad period if you just go out and you walk through the aisles here in the corridors. So I'm very happy because we talked a lot, but here you can see exactly what we mean. So yesterday we had an award dedicated to ethics and sustainability, and it was one of the most visited one. So people are really interested, and here we can see the results of what we are doing. And then tomorrow, I would like to underline once again that we are promoting along with two charities, which are Pane Quotidiano and Banco Alimentare, the food waste collection. So we ask to all our exhibitors to leave us what is left from their booth or from the food that they brought with them, and we will distribute to the people in need here in Milan, of course. But I think this is something that we truly believe in, and it is what we can actually do in order to sustain what we say.
Brilliant.
So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you both for your... Sorry.
Let me say, Roberta, a big, big thank you to the UK Department of International Trade for joining us for this challenging event, and good luck to everybody.
Thank you very much. Rossano, Paola, if I can ask you, thank you very much. This is a very important conversation, as you said. There's been a lot of discussion on the road to COP26, and certainly sustainability is at the front line for the industry. We understand the challenges, but I think it's really important that we have this conversation about industry achievement, how we can cooperate, and what's next, so that we can get there faster and better. But thank you very much. Thank you both.
Thank you.
So what we've been looking at doing today is bringing together a panel of experts that, yes, thank you, Paola, that can actually give us a good showcase of how these initiatives on circular economy has been brought together by industry, both in the UK and here in Italy. As you know, COP26 is jointly organized between Italy and the UK, and the collaboration between these two countries has really led to some very interesting innovation. And so what we want to do is to try and see opportunity where this can happen even further. So let me introduce the panels that we have today. And if I could please ask Claudia, Mirko, and Giulio to just join me here. I'll introduce you all. And of course, I'll introduce our panelists that we have online that I believe they will be appearing. Thank you, Claudia. Are they appearing? Not sure. Okay. Well, if I can start with our first guest today is Claudia Ciacci. She's the Chief Operating Officer for Branca International. And Claudia, thank you very much. And I think you have a very interesting story to tell on circular economy and how the industry is embarking here.
Work. Okay.
Yeah.
Do I have to send this?
Yeah, you should be able to start it.
Okay. Thank you very much. I would like to start giving you a brief introduction of Branca International, because probably most of you doesn't know how the group looks like today. So Branca International is a family-owned company, 100% owned by the Branca family. and is an international holding company that produces and sells alcoholic beverages at global level since 1845. So sustainability is part of the DNA of the company that aimed at lasting and in particular to survive its profit over the years. We have the 6th generation in the company, and we today control 2 distribution and producing plants, one in Milan, the historic Fratelli Branca Distillery, and the other one in Argentina, in Buenos Aires. And we set up also in 2019 a trading company in US to continue to develop our business abroad. I would like to show you key figures of the group and key performance indicators in terms of sustainability that are also reported in our latest sustainability and awareness report that was published in 2019. This was the first report at group level, even if sustainability is part of the story of the company, simply because our products are made of roots, herbs, spices, so they were born from the earth, from the planet, and there is a very strong interdependence between so the company life and the nature. Let's see the video, and then we can go through one of the key projects of 2020 in terms of sustainability. So sustainability and awareness are 2 keywords for Branca International. This is not only a matter of claiming, but sustainability is part of everyday life in our group and inspires our vision, our mission, and decisions that we take every day. This is, strongly linked to the view of the president, Niccolo Branca, and the economy of the awareness is something that we strongly believe in, and we continue to perceive in our business as let's say our ambition is to act like a bee, taking nectar from the flower without damaging it, because we can survive only if we respect people, if we respect the planet, if we respect our resources. So what we would like to do is just to take raw materials from the planet, to transform them, and creating value for our consumers and for our stakeholders. And this is what we do every day. Also investing a lot in innovation, in optimization and digitalization of processes, production processes, but also human resources processes, because there is a strong interdependence between the economic, social, environmental, and human aspect in life and also in business. This is basically the ambition of the group, and one of the key projects we worked in 2020 was also shared with Tecnoalimenti and CONAI, and it's an augmented reality application aimed at providing consumers information regarding the product, the ingredients, the word behind the product, and also sustainability guidelines. So in particular, we want to inform the consumer on how to recycle the product without investing in it. So only framing the front label of the bottle, the consumer can immediately see some contents and also the environmental label. That is one of our, let's say, mandatory from one side, but also very important aspect for our business since 2020. Also in this case, I have a short video for you showing how it works. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Claudia. That was very interesting, and thank you for sharing all this information for a certainly well-established business as embarking some new technology. Following from this, I would like now to introduce you to our second speaker that is joining us online. Is here Stirling being connected? Oh, hi. Hi, good afternoon, Iain. Thank you for joining us today. Iain is the founder of Arbikie Distillery, and if I can ask you to introduce yourself and tell us more about the innovation your company has been involved in. Okay, sorry, we seem to have lost it. I think they're just trying to reconnect us straight away. Or if we have to. Claudia, if I can ask you while we're waiting for us to be reconnected, how important do you think is all this information to the consumer when they choose your product and when they look at the quality of the product throughout the supply chain? Do you see the consumer engaging in this? Do they ask for it, or how?
Not all of the consumers, to be honest. No, I think, I mean, these are very important information, but right now, probably Italy, but I think also international consumers are not really ready to give the right value to this kind of information. Because what we would like and what we achieve is to, let's say, drive the consumer to make decisions based also on this kind of investment and information, because sustainability is not for free.
Yeah.
And so it's very important to be recognized by the consumers for this kind of initiatives and investment. So far, I don't think this is the case. I want to be honest.
I mean, we know consumers are getting more and more interested in the sustainability, so it's most probably in different category. You might take a different time, but surely they'll get there.
If you think that only, let's say, 4% of companies has a sustainability report published, you can understand that probably the market talk a lot about sustainability, but maybe doesn't know a lot on how it works, what does it mean.
And to communicate it as well. Yes, absolutely. Okay, sounds like we've solved our problem. Iain, welcome back. Hi. Thank you very much.
I will go back where I was, okay? So is that working okay? You see these fine?
Yeah, we do, thank you.
Perfect, good. So anyway, I'm Ian Stirling. I'm the owner of Arbikie Highland Estate. Welcome to Arbikie Highland Estate on the sunny east coast of Scotland, where this is a lovely red morning sunset where we're very lucky to live. In terms of our business, our vision as a business is to be one of the world's most sustainable distilleries. And we're very much on that journey. Coming from the background we have of our family farming for over 400 years, it was natural that we were going to grow the ingredients that we were going to distill. So we've been distilling for just over 6 years, so very different to the last presentation. We've got a lot to learn, but at the same time, we've incorporated regenerative farming practices in what we do. So everything is going from soil straight through the supply chain to consumer. We're very much a field to bottle distiller, so we grow what we need to distill. So that is everything from potatoes to barleys to chilies to coriander to whatever we need, I say juniper for making gin. In terms of products, we distill Highland Rye, the world's only rye Scotch whiskey. First time in 200 years that there's been rye Scotch in Scotland. And we also distill the world's first climate positive gin, Nadar, the Scots Gaelic word for nature. In terms of where we are in the world, we're very much on sale at the world's best resorts, bars, and in retail. And in Italy, we work with Ferro Wines in Castelfranco Veneto. So there's a kind of background of us in terms of supply chain. In terms of the places we work with, there's an example of some of the organizations we work with, like the Four Seasons or Oman, Mandarin Oriental, a lot of the Michelin star restaurants who very much appreciate our single estate provenance that we have in terms of what we do. It's a slow process and a much more involved process, but we're lucky to work with some of the best bars and others. In terms of our provenance, we're very much, this is our Highland Rye that I spoke about earlier. We won the Excellence in Sustainability Award, beating Diageo, the world's biggest spirits business, in the Scottish Whisky Awards. So for a small startup business like ours, that was a major award, but it also showed that we're on the right path. And so we're willing to learn, but we're also willing to share and to collaborate. And I think collaboration in this space is incredibly important. And I'll explain why later even more. As I said before, we distill the world's first climate positive gin. So as the advert says there, all of the taste and none of the impact. This took about 5 years to do. As I said before, Nadar is a Scottish Gaelic word for nature. The key difference is it's distilled from peas, and we grow the peas on our farm along with everything else we distill. And the project was very much a 5-year project with our master distiller, Kirsty Black, working in collaboration with the world-class James Hutton Crop Institute. So they were advising in terms of the cropping, and obviously Abertay University. And at the James Hutton Institute with a good Italian, Dr. Pietro Iannetta, and in Abertay was Professor Graham Walker. There's an awful lot more information there because, as I said before, We like to be transparent, we like to collaborate, and we like to share. So if you want to have a look at a bit more information on Nadar, that web link there will give you it. In terms of the actual facts, Nadar saves 1.54 kilos of carbon dioxide per 70 cl bottles. So it's revolutionary, it's innovation, but it's also going back to basics in terms of distilling, where we're growing what we distill and we do everything on one site. So very much single estate. In terms of the science, the peas give a free nitrogen fix to the soils. So it's very good for the soils in terms of our growing. And so naturally reduces the need to use artificial fertilizer. So in terms of today's conversation about circular economy, it's very much grow, distill, bottle, the waste from our distilling fed to our cattle, and the cows then recycle the waste straight into the soil. And so it starts all over again. Very much the way farming's always been done, but also incorporating distilling into this process. The opportunity for the industry, and this is very much an alcohol industry, but I'll talk about some of the packaging in a minute. The global industry has the opportunity to switch from buying in grey neutral spirit that's made from peas rather than buying in white spirit that's made from wheat. So this would have a major climatic impact if the industry was to do that in terms of making gin. And it's certainly something that consumers should be asking the question. In terms of what else we do, we're planning to use green hydrogen to power our distillery. We're looking at all the electric farm vehicles in terms of circular economy, in terms of the environment. We're intercropping, so growing peas with barley together in a field, and so you get free nitrogen from the peas. We're also growing heritage barleys, so the ancient varieties of barleys that were grown in the past, we're about to grow them. You get less yield, you get more flavor, and so we'll have unique single malt whiskies. And particularly for what you're talking about today, we're removing single glass bottles by using the EcoSpirits delivery system. So we've adopted that in the UK, and we're looking at that and the uses of that within how we work as both internally in the UK, but also as we export across the world. And also we're obviously looking at sustainable spirits, so having a nature positive impact on the world. Here's the EcoSpirit containers we spoke about. This system we came across when I was looking at our distribution in Asia, and actually this allows us to remove a lot of the single-use glass, and I think that's a very, very important thing for us, because if we're shipping pallets of glass bottles around the world, normally we'd have about 700 single-use glass bottles on it, and if we can put that into one container and ship that direct into Asia or some of the bigger markets, we're rolling out Nadar with Whole Foods in the US just now. If we can do that, those bigger distances, it certainly improves our life cycle analysis. Obviously with Nadar, that was minus 1.54. If we use EcoSpirits, that might go down to minus 1.45, I think it is. Sorry, minus 2.45 if we use that. So we're working this is in a very much a carbon negative space, so probably ahead of the curve, but we're very lucky to have inherited the farming, inherited the growing, and actually built the distillery onto the existing business that we had. On the left there, we have just built a new unit there, so do come and see what we're doing. The Arbikie distilling experience will be there, and very much talking people through field to bottle, how we grow, how we distill, and also just come and enjoy some nice gins, vodkas, and whiskies. Up in the sunny East Coast, what can be better than that? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Iain. That was very, very interesting presentation as well. I would like to move to our next speaker for the interest of time. Mirko Mombelli is the Global Strategic Marketing and Innovation for Risogallo, and we'll also have Jason Morrison, who is the Managing Director for Risogallo, joining, telling a little bit more of the story from a food point of view and a staple food, really, as such.
Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Mirko. I'm dealing with marketing at a global, international level at Risogallo, and I would like to introduce to you all which have been the advancement we've done into the world of sustainability, in particular with some reference to the world of international cooperation and with UK in particular. I don't know if I have the...
Oh, Claudia, could you?
Thank you. So, okay, first of all, who is Risogallo? Maybe most of all knows the company, but just to make a quick recap, we have a family-owned business quite similar to the history of Branca we heard before, because we too have sixth generation leading from family, and we too have a history that is linked to Argentina and Buenos Aires too. So there are many assonance between our two stories. We are the leader of market of rice in Italy, with a very high level of awareness, around 98%, which is very, very high, 20% of market share. And we are proud to say that we have 100% cultivated in Italy rice and 100% milled in Italy rice. So we are completely a made in Italy company, still using, which is the ancient craftsmanship and expertise of the stone milling techniques and whatever else. But we are still focused and keen on innovation. In fact, we have been and we are still the only rice company all around Europe that has introduced on the European market rice from sustainable agriculture and plastic packaging for vacuum technology, which are completely suitable to be recycled in plastic world, which is a really unique feature that is not present in any other product in the rice world. This is the range we are used to sell outside Italy, in particular in UK. We have a range that is completely aimed to fill and to satisfy any needs all around the world of rice. So we can go from the most premium products regarding the risotto rice in the precious varieties of Carnaroli, Arborio, and the other ones, then going to convenience side through the ready risottos, going also to a balance between good value for money and quality with our everyday rice line. And finally, we have a really interesting line which is called Rustico, which is made by whole grains and that introduce features regarding the well-being and the healthiness of our product, which is rice, which is very close to the ground, to the earth, and so that is completely linked to sustainable world. We are used to say, to underline this aspect, that our products are marked by the symbol of Gallo, where Gallo becomes a kind of acronym which means G, guarantee authentic, local, low impact, and original products. Is a kind of calembour that wants to sum up what we are used to do in our company. Okay, this is what I was saying in a few seconds ago. So, what is really important is that we have been the first one introducing on the market products that are completely from sustainable agriculture. We started with classical, with white rices regarding Arborio, Carnaroli, and other varieties, then going to whole grain rice, and then lately introducing also a basmati rice, which is currently the only basmati which is produced through the agriculture sustainable techniques that are recognized and certified by the most precious and prestigious certification schemes, which is the approach of Risogallo to sustainability. I mean, sustainability is a word that is very, very well diffused now, and many people when many companies are used to claim sustainable practice and aspects. But what we think is that the threshold between sustainability and greenwashing is very, very, very thin to overpass. So the approach of Risogallo is to have always a certified and shared approach with the key stakeholders of each aspect of the sustainable supply chain. What I mean that starting from the field phase, so going before the production phase to production phase till the circular economy activities, we have collaborated together with the important stakeholders, for example, starting with the life cycle assessment with the University of Milan, then going through the certification of the KPIs regarding energy and greenhouse emission gases and and waste management, till going to the certification of sustainable practice. And we always have collaborated with the most precious, most diffuse, and most prestigious schemes and certificators. For example, regarding the sustainability practice, we have worked with SRP, which is the most diffused around the world, and FSA, which is Farm Sustainability Assessment, which is the most diffused all across Europe. So, sorry, too fast. This is a very interesting and curious thing. I mean that we have been the first one all across the world, I think, to introduce and to create a network of farmers, of rice cultivators, that have subscribed together with us this, what we called la Carta del Riso, the rice Magna Carta, somehow let it call it, in which we stated a list of 8 rules that people, that farmers, that suppliers that want to become suppliers of sustainable rice for Riso Gallo have to subscribe, even much stricter than the ones of the most diffused protocols. They start from the most agriculture practice and aspects, then going also towards the social and environmental and economical aspects that are not usually included into the protocols. And this is already able, together, more than 120 farmers that are now into our community of farmers, which is the biggest one in the rice all around Europe, and which we are very proud of it. I mean, this is a way to work towards sustainability, which is, in my opinion, concrete and not just linked to corporate and, let me say, not tangible assets. We are talking about products that goes on the market, that they are sustainable and certified as sustainable, which is the difference, according to me, that we can state between Riso Gallo and the other company into the rice world that sometimes are still at a level of more theoretical and corporate-oriented and not product-oriented sustainability. By the way, we have been keen on going also beyond, which is the agricultural part of sustainability, going into the circular economy world. What I mean that in rice world, nothing is going to be wasted. Everything is reused. Also, the waste from the milling technique and process parts are then sold for example, food for animals or whatever else. But what we've done has been to invest in becoming shareholders of some small and innovative startup companies, like, for example, this Rice House or Mogu. These companies, what they do, they take our production wastes and they give a new value to them, transforming into one case into some materials for building houses, basically. So to have protection and to have biomaterials for co-inventation and house building. On the other side, we are talking about a company that creates design and architecture objects through the waste of rice production. So this is not just reusing the waste, it's to give added value to them, which means for us to bring to life sustainability also in a very relevant and also nice to tell way to outside us. So, closing my part, I would say that we are not just talking about sustainable agriculture, but we go beyond this because we also talk about packaging, circular economy, sustain of our community of farmers. So it's a 360 approach to sustainability. So we are not just sustainable agriculture, but we are the grains that sustain, I used to say. And I think that the most interesting case history that we can provide to understand how sustainability can work really on the field is linked to UK world, to UK Riso Gallo UK, and I would like to share the presentation with my colleague Jason that is now connected with us.
Thank you very much, Mirko. That's really great. So is Jason joining us remotely now? Are you there?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Hi, we can hear you. We can't see you. I don't know
All
if
right.
you say, there you go, we got some slides. There you go. Hi, Jason. Good afternoon.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all.
Yeah.
If we can go back to the slides, that would be very good. Just want to say that I'm particularly interested in Iain's story at the Arbikie Distillery, because actually where they're based was just a few miles from where I did my schooling and grew up. So I can assure Iain that I will be visiting at some point very soon.
Brilliant.
Can I ask that the presentation is put back onto the screen, please?
Are you? Can you share the slides, the previous slides? Yeah, I think the team is working on bringing that one up.
Fantastic.
There you go.
Okay, perfect. So for us within Riso Gallo UK, 2020 was a very interesting year. Not only did we have the panic buying that stripped the shelves of everyday items, but this also included ambient rice as well. Our brand rebuild last year was planned for October 2020, but was forced to be brought forward because all of the existing stocks were used up in record time. So the months during April to July, when the queues were happening at the stores, we had to then rapidly bring forward the launch of our sustainable rice in recyclable packaging. And the rice mill was working 24/7. And for those that are not aware, the rice mill is probably just less than an hour from where the initial cases of COVID happened in Italy. So a very tough time, but thankfully the rice mill worked 24/7 and there was very little disruption to our supply. What did happen, however, was that during the year, we managed to increase the household penetration by nearly 500,000 people. Now, if you look to the left of the chart, the issue was that over time, rice was becoming more commoditized because of private label and brands claiming authenticity. And the challenge there for us at Riso Gallo was to maintain our premiumization. The way to do this was to innovate clearly. The brand messaging and restyling was brought forward with the objective of adding value to the rice shelf and not engaging in a price war with private label. The whole range went through a repositioning, starting from the brand ID through visual refreshing and the use of advertising and promotions and marketing tools. Next slide, please. Okay, so using Nielsen data to June 2020, we saw that Riso Gallo were the fastest growing brand in dry risotto in value, with our traditional risotto on the middle on the left showing huge growth at plus 69%, and our Carnaroli being the variety leader, the one on the right at plus 36.8%. The outcome for us, as a result of moving to sustainable rice and recyclable packaging, was a huge 4 percentage points increase in market share, thus stealing consumers from private label and also other brands entering in the UK. Next chart, please. So partly due to the surge in demand in the UK for grocery products during 2020, the UK was the first country to completely switch to sustainable rice. And the packaging restyled in the premium risotto category. The result was huge growth for the brand during the year. I think you can see to the left, we've got step one, which was the point of reinforcing the brand through a dedicated customer understanding program. And this included a series of focus groups based in the UK. The first step focused on sustainability and the USPs that this gave us. And this is emphasized on the pack through the Gallo acronym that Mirko mentioned earlier, which is all about guaranteed, authentic, loyal, local and original. And step three was about nourishing the consumer relationship, where through TV and social media, we raised customer awareness for the brand and created the conditions for repeat purchase as well. Through social media, it was about giving the knowledge to the shopper to allow them to make their choice. And then slide number 14, please, the last one, sorry. So this is using Kantar data to the end of April 2021. We saw that during 2020, so during the pandemic buying, we saw a huge spike from March, which was consistent across the whole year. Now we're cycling that huge growth period, the growth has slowed. If you look to the middle sector, which is risotto rice, we didn't see the same huge spikes that total rice saw, but we did see continuous growth throughout the whole of 2020. Only in the last two recent periods, we've seen overall gains in starting to slow, but now not as much as total rice. So for us as a brand, great news. For Riso-Gallo, we followed a similar growth to total rice with an acceleration across the year. And in the last quarter, a little bit of deceleration, but still in a very, very strong position. So the key message from me is that through moving to sustainable rice and into packaging suitable for recycling, we managed to double our household penetration in the UK. We managed to achieve an increase of 4 percentage points in market share. And we are very much, as Mirko said earlier, the leading European rice miller, where we have the relevant certification to be sustainable. And the packaging in the UK being recyclable is one of the most important things that shoppers have said they want to see from a brand in the UK. So my personal thanks to Mirko and the team in Riso-Gallo for making this happen. The benefits we are now seeing in the UK are very clear. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jason and Mirko, for your contribution to this. Great reaction. I think it's really important in the conversation we're hearing the engagement from the food and the beverage industry, but understanding how the technology is coming from the packaging. Our next speaker that is joining us online again, Kaushal Shah, are you there? Is the Chief Executive Office of envoPAP, and I think it's the connection. Kaushal, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. Hi, good afternoon. Thank you very much. I'll leave the time to you to tell us about your innovation.
Sure. Firstly, thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure and honor to be here and telling everyone about what we do at envoPAP and highlighting certain important aspects of circular economy packaging. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kaushal Shah, founder and CEO of envoPAP. We make sustainable packaging and paper products which are kind to the planet. And we do that using renewable resources like the waste of sugarcane, wheat, rice, which is grown in abundance in India. And by doing this, by replacing the use of wood fiber or plastic-based resources, we make an environmental impact through packaging for the food, e-commerce, and product-based variety of different products. We're also a certified B Corporation, where we find new ways to look for packaging beyond the conventional tree-based paper packaging, or also to create packaging where we can replace plastics being heavily utilized, where recycling is not being. Simply put, we exist to raise the standards of sustainable packaging solutions by helping brands create wealth for the world from the waste which is generated on farm fields. Can I request for the slides, please? Slide 1.
There, it's on. We can see it. Kaushal, can you see the slide?
Yes.
Would you like the next one? Yep, there we go.
Wonderful. So, yes, perfect. So I'm going to make my report in 4 different ways. First, I'm going to highlight a variety of different environmental concerns across Italy and Europe. And then we move on to the increased use of food packaging and e-commerce packaging where plastic's being used. And then we move on to the main IPCC report on Code Red, and then telling you about how companies are fighting climate change and what envoPAP does in this journey. So let me start by telling you a little bit more about what is the current plastic recycling state and the metrics on recycling. So in 2016, Italy shipped 0.05 million tons of plastic waste to China. Combined with the other G7 countries, they made up half of all the plastic waste exported to China. Recently, there was a scientific paper on recycling behaviors in Italy, found that almost 75% of those involved in the study said that their recycling behaviors would improve drastically with just simply putting clear and straightforward labeling. A higher perception of the circular economy concepts leads to more reutilization of the packaging parts, which increases with the awareness about the importance of recycling. One thing to highlight here is that Italy has planned to cut carbon emissions by 60% by 2030. We should applaud for that. But at the same time, Italy is listed as the 4th in the European Union after the Netherlands, Belgium, and France for their circular material use rate. Moving on, let's deep dive into how we have been using plastics for packaging of food and in retail, takeaway, and online. Of the total demand for plastic in Europe, an estimated 8.2 billion kilos of this is just used for food products. I repeat, 8.2 billion kilos of plastics is being used just for food production. With hardening public attitudes against plastic waste, let's say the Attenborough effect, majority of the people in 2019 expected the use of plastic in food packaging to decrease. Really, we all were expecting that food packaging plastics would decrease, but the trends haven't really gone in our way. It points that it's moving increasingly ahead. The COVID-19 pandemic disrupted initiatives for reduction in single-use plastics for food packaging and e-commerce. As consumers, we all became primarily very concerned with the safety and hygiene of our products, particularly with regards to packaging-free food. However, requirements for safety and hygiene have and will always be paramount in the food packaging industry. So COVID-19, I do believe, will not hinder the steps towards increased sustainable packaging in the industry. Takeaway food and drink litter dominates the ocean plastics. Single-use bags, plastic bottles, food containers, food wrappers are the 4 most widespread items polluting the seas. And this was even published by The Guardian. Moving on to the IPCC report. The Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change, led by the United Nations, 6th report was released on the 9th of August. And it was very, very highlighted clearly the severe scale of climate emergency, denoting as a code red for humanity. We all need to call up on during the COP26, it needs to call on all the global leaders, the stakeholders, investors, governments, businesses, to really invoke change and reverse the unequivocal anthropogenic causes of the climate crisis. Imminent risk of hitting the 1.5 degrees temperature has increased. Warming is projected to hit the 1.5 degrees threshold between 2030 and 2035 in all 5 model scenarios, ranging from the highly optimistic to the reckless, which is a full decade earlier than previously predicted. Reaching net zero carbon emissions within the carbon budget is fundamental if we want to limit the impacts of the climate crisis. Decarbonization needs to be enacted immediately. Global deployment of negative emission technologies is required. And this is all has been talked in for years and years. Globally, I do feel there's more investment needed into green technologies. There's an existing commitment which only exists, which needs to be met first. And then we need to also up it up by moving higher. The UN chief also mentioned recently, inclusive green economies, prosperity, cleaner air, and better health is all possible if we all respond to this crisis with solidarity and courage and collaboration. So let's look at what are big companies really doing to do more on plastic replacements. Recycling post-consumption waste has been found in at least all scientific papers to be the preferred practice of small and large organizations alike across the world to improve their efforts towards the circular economy. But how can we take this step further? Yes, of course, envoPAP is a solution, but at the same time, we have to do more. Sweden, Denmark, France, Hungary, New Zealand, and the UK are the only countries that have passed their carbon neutral targets into law as of yet, although the entirety of the European Union, as well as several other countries across the world, had proposed legislation for this. Whether big companies like it or not, they will soon be held legally accountable for their environmental footprints, if not already. We, as a certified B Corporation, a young company, are publishing our carbon reports every single year. A good thing about it is that 1/3 of the UK's largest companies have committed to eliminate their carbon emissions by 2050. Come on, 2050, not nearly a good enough commitment considering the predicted rise in temperatures we just saw on the last slide. Businesses taking action on climate is vitally important in achieving the UK's goals to tackle climate change by 2050, from cutting emissions in their supply chains to opting for sustainable business practices. Here are 4 examples for you. Vodafone has pledged to reduce its carbon emissions to 0 by 2030. Sainsbury, another conglomerate which with superstores, has committed £1 billion to over the next 20 years to become net zero by 2040. AstraZeneca, as we all know, the vaccine manufacturer for COVID-19, has committed to achieving 0 carbon emissions from its global operations by 2025 and becoming carbon negative across its entire value chain by 2030. This involves doubling its energy productivity, using 100% renewable energy for power and heat, and sustainable product design, such as the launch of next generation respiratory inhalers. And Rolls-Royce, a car which we all dream of, has also committed to net zero gas emissions associated with its operations and facilities by 2030. These all involving established a circular economy approach means better manufacturing and better recycling. So moving on, what do we do at envoPAP? Firstly, we work here at envoPAP to increase the farming community's income across India by buying the waste they generate on their farm fields. We work with a variety of farmers, sugar mills, wheat mills, rice contractors, and after this waste has been collected, we pulp it and we dry it into making standard paper making pulp, and then press and dry on paper machines, which helps us in making the product as equivalent to a wood fiber or recycled fiber material. While doing so, we started with the base material, but as we went along, we noticed there's a heavy demand for packaging for food items, which is dominated right now with plastic. So today, I present to you one of our newest announcements, which we're doing later this month, is envoBarrier. This is one of our products available in white and brown. As we saw 2 of the companies talking about rice packaging and pastas packaging. This is exactly the product we've created for replacement of plastic made from waste of agriculture, which has the potential to be recycled into curbside recycling, making new paper across the world, repulpable, industrial compostable, and most important of all, biodegradable as well. These have the same properties of water, oxygen, aroma barrier, and high moisture vapor and oxygen barrier properties. Here at envoPAP, we work towards making packaging which is kinder to the planet. I hope you liked my presentation. And please, if you are interested in learning more and our vision to inspire a world where we create no packaging that harms the planet, check us out on envopap.com, all our social media. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Kaushal. This was very interesting to hear about. If I can ask to follow from Giulio Giannini, there is the Legal Affair and Sustainability from DS Smith to give us your side as a also large business that has been in this for quite some time. So.
Thank you, Roberta. Thanks. So what we'd like to tell you today is a few words about DS Smith and its corporate purpose, which is redefining packaging for a changing world. So first of all, who's DS Smith? So DS Smith is a multinational company headquartered in the UK, listed in the London Stock Exchange, and it is among the FTSE 100 company. It has over 30,000 employees in 34 countries, including Italy, of course. And our core business is to help our customers with sustainable packaging solutions. Our business, as you can see from the slide, is circular in itself. So we were circular before the circular economy wording came into light in the past years. Why? Because our core business is manufacturing recycled paper corrugated packaging made of paper, recycled paper, which comes from our paper division and our paper mills located in Europe and the US, which in turn use the recycled paper coming from our recycling division, which collects paper from clients, from the public, and from our plants. So as you can see, it's easy for us to show how circular is our business. Given our business, we decided 2.5 years ago to become partner to the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, which is the leading foundation in the circular economy and with which we are now sharing several projects. Our purpose is to help our customers to become more circular thanks also to our products. So for this reason, we elaborated our sustainability strategy, which is called Now and Next. And the sustainability strategy sets forth 26 tangible targets to be reached in the next years in order to become more sustainable. Among those targets, I think it is important to underline the manufacturing of 100% of reusable or recyclable packaging, the importance of optimizing every single fiber we use in our packaging. Another target is the zero waste to landfill, of course. And then, last but not least, we have plastic packaging substitution, as well as to engage 5 million people on the circular economy and the circular lifestyle. This is because we cannot reach a circular world if every one of us is not involved. And this is also one of our targets in our sustainability strategy. Thanks to the collaboration of the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, we then set out our circular design principles on which all of our designers are trained. Those principles are applied in every single packaging we manufactured, and it helps our customers to use packaging which is reusable, recyclable, which has less empty space, and so can be more sustainable. We see that we can go from box-to-box recycling in 14 days. And we cannot forget that by using paper recycling, recycled paper, we can save 360,000 trees from being cut every single year. By applying our circular design model, we then invented a circular design matrix, which is a pioneering tool which helps our customer to understand how sustainable is the packaging we create. So for each single new packaging, we have 8 indicators of sustainability, which help our customers to improve their product, to understand how this product is sustainable and how can it be improved. Among those, for example, there is the percentage of recycled content, the carbon footprint index, how and whether this is designed for use, etc. So by applying our circular design matrix, we have, I would like to show you a few packaging products we manufactured recently. The first one has been manufactured for a client called BioFresh Banat, and this packaging solution helps to identify the best way to protect the products and to enhance the environmental performance. But as you can see, it is also a beautiful product that can improve the sales of our customers. It is, of course, a sustainable product made of fully recycled paper. A second example was a paper packaging product which helped a customer in France to substitute its packaging solution containing potatoes. Thanks to our design matrix, we eliminated the plastics, aligning with the CSR approach, but also we kept the product safe. We should also remember that in France, in 2020, a new law has been enacted. This law bans plastic packaging from fresh fruits and vegetables weighing less than 1.5 kilos. So in these circumstances, of course, the substitution of plastic is even more urgent. This is a third example of a product. This was in Bulgaria, where we helped our client distributing high-quality eggs to substitute its packaging, and now the eggs are contained in fully recyclable cardboard, which is of course easy to assemble and use, but it has also a modern looking. So also in this case it helps and improves the sales. Finally, a few words on two facilities we are building in Europe, one in Italy, in Castelfranco Emilia. This is the one you're seeing on the slides, and the other one is in Poland. So those two facilities follow a strong performance we are having in Italy and Poland, and it is the result of an investment of 100 million euros. They are brand new projects, so they are greenfield projects. And with respect to the one in Italy, which concerns probably us more, I can tell that this is in Castelfranco Emilia, which is close to Modena. It is a modern facility, which is designed to be modern not only today, but in 20 years' time. It is completely brand new, also in terms of machineries that have been bought and will be used in this facility. Of course, it is built in accordance with the modern standards in terms of sustainability and construction, and it also, of course, use solar energy coming from solar panels placed on the roof. This will be mainly focused to e-commerce clients, including Amazon, but will be operative soon. So I thank you for the time, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation.
Thank you very much. That was very, very interesting to hear. In the interest of time, again, I'm sorry, this conversation is very interesting, but we really have to go through our last speaker, who is Stephen Keynes. He's the founder of CatsAI. Stephen, you there? Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Good afternoon. Yes, if we can please ask you to share with us some of your technology for our audience. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Be happy to. If the slides can please make an appearance. Whilst we're also waiting for that, I'll tell a little story about why we created CatsAI. So a friend of mine, a colleague, had a career change. He went from banking to baking. And he was learning the business, and he was experiencing some challenges. He was very happy with his demand planning. He had sophisticated software. He was very happy with his production planning. It was all lined up. But he had two problems, which were essentially the same, which was every single day in all of his locations, he would have waste or he would have empty shelves. The empty shelves would mean he might have lost out on sales, and the waste has the ecological problems which are bringing many of us together here today. So if I can just ask for the next slide. So we are going to be talking today about the simple idea of trying to match supply and demand. Next slide, please. So while you're thinking about the answer to this problem, I just want to get you to think about the challenges that you might be experiencing matching supply and demand. Next slide, please. Now, for those online who might not be able to see this especially, there are, on the left-hand side, you've got your levers, which are things that you control. They might be your team's capability and capacity, your budgets, your approach to sales through channels. On the right-hand side are your challenges. These are customer expectations, changing customer behaviors, evolving trends. Each of those join together, creating literally millions of variations, depending on how many sites you've got. So for 100 sites, you might have 10,000 different variations of what might be happening across those sites. The complexity is mind-blowing. Next slide, please. So it's all about the stress. Now, again, for those online who might not be able to read this, it's about the stresses that you're feeling on the daily basis, which is on the left, the worry about meeting demand, the worry about COVID. And on the right, it's the stress and concern of worrying about the ecological impact that your business is having every single day. Going back to our clients, we consistently see these challenges with each of the clients that we talk to. They need to reduce the waste in their inventory. They need to stop urgent and replenishment deliveries. They need to increase their lorry loading capacity. All are being driven from one common issue, which is they couldn't match supply and demand in the very short term. So this is what's happening next week. This is where the random is, where you have a long-term forecast. In the next week, things change. The weather changes, deliveries get delayed, behaviours change on a local level, traffic, events. And if you're trying to manage this on anything more than one site, it becomes far too difficult. Next slide, please. Down the other way, please. Okay. And again. That's it. So every business has a balance. The people on this call are particularly aware of the fine balance between sustainability and profitability. The easiest way to ensure profit is to ensure availability of your products so that they are always available to sell. And that has obviously the environmental impact of waste. So misaligned supply and demand. So what we're asking is, where can you find the right balance? And the good news is there is the capability, but it's beyond the human capability. Next slide, please. So as you might have guessed from our name, we have created a tool in the toolset of artificial intelligence, AI. Now, this is a different way. We use the power of AI and machine learning to handle the complexity and give those business leaders the balance they need between profitability and sustainability. Why AI solves this problem is it because it can learn the patterns of these businesses. It can identify the patterns that have been the trends that have come out of your customer base in a very short term, or maybe the trends that have been developing for a very long time. It's constantly learning. It's constantly looking at each and every of your locations and your customers' behavior to more efficiently align supply and demand. Next slide, please. So with a better balance that artificial intelligence can give you, we've got some use cases from our existing clients. So you can reduce your inventory waste. So having the confidence to reduce the overstock means that you're going to naturally waste less. So we give you the tool to do that. Having the confidence to use your warehouses more effectively, so you don't have to have so much of the warehouse with short-term stock, means that you can manage your warehouse more effectively. You can still exceed customer expectations because you'll still have the stock available, and you'll spend less time on the road because you don't have to make those last-minute deliveries. You can make deliveries, plan your deliveries in advance, and greater planning obviously has the opportunity for greater efficiency. Next slide, please. So quickly, CatsAI has been built by experts in AI and has been validated by industry experts in food. We've tested this on 70,000 sites across the food spectrum. The good news is you might be thinking, AI, complicated, I need people, I need data scientists, all the other things you might have heard about. This solution is plug in. It will sit with what you've got right now. Next slide, please. So the obvious question is how? Next slide, please. So and those, especially in the UK, will recognise this picture of a picnic. The best laid plans in our personal lives need to change at short notice. And in our business lives, it's very true as well. In each of those locations where you're actually delivering or in fact selling to consumers, there are factors at each of those locations that are unique to those locations that change the demand profile. And they change it subtly or dramatically on a very short window, which is the next week. You might experience stockouts because of a change in weather. You might experience food waste because you didn't anticipate the effect of a school holiday being so dramatic. Or you might be doing unnecessary deliveries because you haven't sold as much as you thought because your footfall has stayed stagnant. So it's all about adaptability in the next week. Next slide, please. So, quick question on what. We've created what we think is the world's first AI demand predictions as a service. So it sits in the cloud, you plug it into your system, it does all of the hard work for you, it looks at all the weather patterns, the holiday patterns, everything that's around your location, be it a retail site or a delivery site that would change the demand, be that being maybe near a museum if you're a cafe, so that you can then focus on getting more confidence, so you can be more agile at a more local level and build in the sustainability that you'll need in the circular economy whilst being still profitable. Next slide, please. So I just want to give you some figures to land the last slide, which is with our use cases with our existing clients, we have helped them to condense their delivery visits by 25%. This is just through more confident planning in the short term by cancelling and adding the right deliveries at the right time. You can prevent stockouts because you know the demand, you can react to the demand, so you can more confidently stock at the right levels. And you can get rid of waste collection, so you can take the burden away from all the waste processing, and with, again, being able to, with agility, react to demand in the short term, you can reduce waste by up to 80%. So that's, we hope, will help some people listening to this help find the right balance. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was certainly very interesting, Stephen, and very useful to bring the story together as we heard it from both the beverage, the food, and the packaging side, and how technology actually can help in this big challenge that we have ahead of us. And I think one thing that we all agree is how the cooperation between different businesses, different countries can really help facilitate this progress, speed it up perhaps, and most certainly bringing the businesses together. I'd like to thank very much all the speakers that have contributed today, and on that note I would like to invite our Consul-General our British Consul-General and Director of the DIT here in Italy, Catriona Graham. Catriona, thank you. If you would like to give us some closing remarks.
Grazie, thank you. Grazie a tutti for being here today and taking part in this event with all of us at Fiera Milano. And thanks to our partners too, Fiera Milano and Ipack Ima, for making this happen. So some of you might not know that today's discussion has actually been part of a long series of events that we've been holding in the run-up to the COP26 climate conference in Glasgow next week. It's finally upon us. So we've run over 20 events across Italy in the build-up to this. Obviously, this year has been a really exciting one for UK-Italy relations in terms of climate change, because both our countries are partners in hosting this conference, and so it's been an opportunity for both our countries to show leadership on the global stage as part of this transition that we all need to make. So we've had 3 events already. This is the 3rd one, I think, on the circular economy, helping to make these connections between our 2 countries, our 2 industries, our two groups of innovative people. And the last set was at the pre-COP right here in Milan as well, which we were proud to host in this city. And at that conversation, we had a really fruitful dialogue between institutions, NGOs. So it's great this time to be focusing even more on businesses. You guys are actually the people who are delivering the innovation, delivering the growth that we need to see. So thank you for sharing your expertise and experience with us. As I said, the UK and Italy, we're both partners in the COP26, and something that the presidency of the COP26 has been focused on is to coinvolgere tutti, to involve the whole of society in this transition. So this COP26 is not going to be just about the politicians and the chief negotiators in the conference centre, but it's actually even more about the civil society that surrounds that. And so we're looking to build up commitments from the whole of civil society, but in this case in particular business, and showcase what business ambition is, what business can do in order to therefore raise the level of ambition that the politicians are able to commit to. So as part of that, we've got a big campaign encouraging companies to join the Race to Zero, which is a campaign committing you to net zero emissions by the year 2050, and more importantly, a dedicated plan to actually get there. And there's also a big focus this year in COP on nature, on the circular economy, on protecting the natural resources that we need to protect to keep our planet healthy and safe. And so it's fantastic that this event has been so closely aligned with those themes. I would really encourage all of you to continue being vocal, continue to make your commitments publicly, show your ambition publicly in the last few days we have before the conference, and of course afterwards. It's really important for helping raise the level of global ambition on sustainability in general. And of course, it's not only the right thing to do, but we are also seeing increasingly that choosing a sustainable path is you know better than me, it's good for business as well, it's good for the bottom line. This is what consumers are demanding now in both our countries. Consumers are voting, choosing sustainable products, and I hope and I feel confident that the companies that are represented here today, you will be the ones to grow and succeed ahead of others because of that commitment that you are making. So we want to continue working with you all. Please stay in touch with us, whether that is through ourselves at the consulate in Milan, our colleagues in the embassy in Rome, our colleagues in headquarters back in London at the Department for International Trade. Roberta's here representing that part of our organisation today. We're here to help you to continue to find partners, whether in the UK or Italy, continue to find investment opportunities in both countries, continue to collaborate on future discussions like this, hold future events like this, and also come and represent at future trade fairs like those led by Ipack Ima, Fiera, Milano. We're delighted to do that. So let's hope to see much more of each other in the future. And thanks once again for being part of today. Grazie mille.
Thank you, Catriona. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you again.